Summer 1995. On tranquil Edisto Island, South Carolina, Daisy, an elderly Gullah woman, crafts a sweetgrass basket as she hums the spiritual "Steal Away."
But the tranquility of Edisto was broken the summer I turned 14, because I lost my father, and because of my feelings about my sister Eve. Somehow, you all went tragically wrong. The first time I died was that summer. My older sister Eve was dating Glenn, a knob at the Citadel. He was the most gorgeous man I had ever seen. I had never been jealous of my sister before, but this summer, I was jealous. So jealous. Thank God Glenn was with us that day.
I had dared Eve to climb that tree. I knew she was frightened. I knew it, and yet I didn't stop her. Eve's fall from the tree brings chaos. As Eleanor tries to get to her, she also falls. Their mother Diane cries out in despair while Glenn and others rush to aid the injured sisters.
Eve, oh my God, my baby.
Eleanor's here. No, she's gone.
As Daisy's spirit hovers over Eleanor's lifeless body, she hears her father's voice beckoning her as the paramedics work feverishly to bring her back. Daisy's spirit imparts enigmatic wisdom, guiding Eleanor back to the living world.
All shall I eat, sleep, or goodbye, ain't one.
Eleanor's spirit returns to her lifeless body.
She's breathing, just barely.
Eve's back is broken, and Eleanor lies unconscious from the accident she caused. Both girls are loaded into an ambulance with Diane, and it pulls away, leaving Glenn standing alone, helpless. The screen fades to 15 years later. Eleanor, now a legal assistant with Beaufain and Associates, exits a transit bus in North Charleston, where she lives with her mother, her sister Eve, now bound to a wheelchair, and Glenn, Eve's husband.
Where have you been? Your sister is starving, and I can't take my medicine on an empty stomach.
You should tell Mr. Beaufain that you expect to be paid overtime if he wants you to work past 5 o'clock.
Eleanor attempts to manage the tense atmosphere with her mother Diane, who pushes her to play at Pete's bar for extra money, and Glenn, who shows concern for her well-being. At Pete's bar, the sound of Beethoven's Pathétique being played on the piano evokes a nostalgic childhood memory for Finn Beaufain as he speaks with the bartender.
Penny for your thoughts.
The Fierno music. It's something I heard when I was a child on Edisto Island. Who's playing?
Eleanor Murray, she's amazing.
Finn, noticing Eleanor's inebriated state, decides to intervene out of concern for her safety.
I'm taking you home. You've had a lot to drink. You're in no condition to drive.
On their way home, Eleanor confides in Finn about her musical aspirations influenced by her late father and the tragedy that befell her family.
My father taught me to play. He wanted me to go to Juilliard.
What happened?
He drowned. A hurricane. The summer I turned 14.
Finn offers Eleanor a position caring for his great aunt Helena.
What do you consider working for me in a different capacity as a part-time companion to my great aunt? She's 89. She'll be coming home from the hospital next week. She has a house on Edisto.
At work the next day, Finn calls Eleanor into his office to discuss her new position.
Last night you were playing one of my favorites, Beethoven's Pathétique.
I'm surprised you recognized it. My classical repertoire's a bit rusty.
Gallendor learns that Helen is returning to Luna Point, the house on Edisto Island with deep connections to both their families, stirring up memories of her own past.
Let's call it serendipity. My great-aunts, my grandmother's sisters, were accomplished musicians. Aunt Bernadette unexpectedly passed away last month, and Aunt Helena has been in the hospital. I'll have 24-hour nursing care, but I was hoping for something more.
Sarska. I'm curious, how did Bate end up on Edisto?
The house, Luna Point, been in my father's family for years. My grandfather married Aunt Helena's sister Magda, my grandmother. They came here after the war. My grandfather gifted the house to them. There's a Mason and Hamlin piano.
Moved by Helena's profound loss of her sister Bernadette and shared musical passion, Eleanor contemplates the job offer, seeing it as an opportunity to reconnect with her own history and love for music.
I remember your aunts. They were always kind to us. You said that Helena was in the hospital following Bernadette's death. Were they both ill?
Aunt Bernadette died in her sleep. She was 85. Aunt Helena, I don't think she wanted to live without her sister. She didn't eat or drink anything, just waited to die. I was lucky I found them when I did.
That evening, Eleanor tells her mother and Eve about her new job offer, but Diane steals the spotlight by announcing Eve's big news.
Eve's pregnant.
Mama, that was my news to tell.
Eleanor is crushed by Eve's news but doesn't show it. She needs to escape. She announces that she will take the additional work and abruptly leaves the house.
The piano's a Mason and Hamlin.
Upon her arrival at Luna Point, Eleanor's attention is drawn to a collection of valuable antique sweetgrass baskets and artwork, including a priceless Vanderwerf painting. As Finn shows Eleanor the house, they come across the music room where the out-of-tune Mason and Hamlin grand piano stands silent.
This painting, it's beautiful. Peter Vanderwerf.
The paintings belong to my aunts. I've stopped asking to have them properly framed and appraised. Aunt Helena moves them around. It's not something she talks about. It's part of their history. I only know that Bernadette was very ill and somehow during the siege, bombs falling all around, Aunt Helena managed to get them out of Budapest to Switzerland with their lives in these paintings.
I can't imagine what that was like.
They never talked about it. They were always so private. That reminds me. Aunt Bernadette's room is off limits. Aunt Helena doesn't want anyone to go in there.
Eleanor meets Helena for the first time, standing up to her resistance.
I do not need anybody else. I have Mrs. Adler and my nurses.
Aunt Helena, please. I can't be with you all the time. Eleanor will be a companion. She can read to you. She plays the piano, as well as Aunt Bernadette.
She does not look like a musician.
Neither do you.
Who is your favorite composer?
I believe Nurse Kester left your lunch in the fridge. Would you like me to get it?
No. Let Finn do it. You may stay.
After Finn leaves the room, Helena tries to get Eleanor to go away.
I do not want you here. It would be better if you told Finn that you do not want this job.
I can't do that.
Have you ever known grieving begins only when your own heart stops beating?
Yes. I lost my father. I miss him every day. My favorite composer was Chopin, but his music reminds me too much of my father, so I don't play it anymore.
You will play something for me today.
Aunt Helena, the piano needs to be tuned. I only brought Eleanor today to meet you, and I have to pick up Gigi.
As they leave the island, Finn reminisces about a cherished childhood memory with Eleanor, revealing how her music once provided solace to his soul.
Aunt Bernadette brought me here when I was a child. I heard someone playing piano through open windows. I've only just realized it was you. You were playing Capathetique. It's one of my few childhood memories when I remember being completely happy.
Arriving back home in North Charleston, Eleanor reminisces about the first time she met her sister's husband.
The first time I met Glenn was Eve's first date with him. He was wearing his Citadel uniform, and I fell head over heels in love with him. I still love him, but now he's my sister's husband, and they're expecting their first child.
Next Saturday, Eleanor drives to her favorite place in the world, Edisto Island, to start a new job and, helpfully, a new life. As Eleanor tends to Helena, a sudden storm brings back painful memories. Helena demands that Eleanor play Chopin. Eleanor concedes she will play and heads to the music room. Helena smiles triumphantly.
She wants me to play? I will, but not Chopin.
Oh, yes. She's going to be very suitable. Well done, Fair.
End of Choices. Episode 1 of the 5-episode limited series, The Time Between.